how you doing? Welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to do a little upgrade that I've been thinking about for about 18 months now. I'm going to add a second leisure battery to double the capacity of my leisure battery bank. I'll just finish this coffee and I'll show you the setup I currently have. My 12 volt electrics are located in the driver's side and my two 40 volt hookup electrics are on the passenger side. I have a 120 amp hour AGM leisure battery which gets its charge as follows. While I'm driving, it's charged by the engine alternator through a split charger. While I'm parked, it's charged by my solar system as long as there's enough rays around. It doesn't have to be bright sunshine as long as it's not too cloudy. And finally, if it's in my workshop or on very rare occasions on a campsite, it can be charged up by a normal mains charger if connected to a 240 volt hookup. The hardest part of this job, I think, is going to be finding where to put it, because there's not a lot of room. It would have been easier if I had put two batteries in from the start, but give me a break, this is my first conversion and probably my last. Now that system's never let me down, and I go away sometimes for 3 and 4, 5 weeks at a time, and it's always off grid, so the fridge is going all the time, and I sometimes go to bed and watch DVDs or put the TV on. But I don't have all the lights blazing. I'm pretty mindful of what I'm using. A couple of times I've woken up the next day and my system has been down to about 12.2. I think that's only happened twice, and that's the worst it's ever been. And that's not that bad. But while I was in Wales last year, there was a heat wave and it was really hot, sunny all the time. And by mid-morning, my batteries are fully charged. And just like your mobile phone and other things that you charge up, once it gets to a full charge, it stops charging. So mid-morning, my solar system stops charging and I'm losing all that potential sunshine, potential charge. Seems such a waste to me. So if I doubled the capacity, that same solar system could charge up 2 batteries, and then I wouldn't have to be so mindful. Now, some of you might be screaming at the screens, you can't do that. Yes, you're right, you can't pair a new battery with an old battery because the old one will pull the new one down and it won't be as efficient. And if you do take a chance and you do that, your new one won't be guaranteed. So I bought 2 and they're not here yet, so I can't get the exact size to measure for where to put it, but there's a saying in the northeast, let the dog see the rabbit, which means get all the trims out the way so you can see. So I'll get on with that. I'll take the trims off, and when the new batteries arrive, I'll be able to see where I can put them. Now at some point you're going to disconnect your battery. Now if you've got a solar panel and you're going to do any sort of job like this, not necessarily exactly the same job as this, but any job that involves removing the battery leads or battery, you must isolate your solar system. Because if you take those leads off, you might think, oh well, the battery's off, there's no power there now. But there will be. There'll be power from the solar to your positive. And if your positive touches the negative, or if they're both lying on a metal surface and they can touch via the metal surface, you will short out your solar system. and that will be expensive. As far as the wiring goes on this, it's not that hard. The hardest part's going to be the joinery. I'm going to try and leave one of the batteries orientated and not the same as the old one there. I might be able to move it along a little bit because I've got a block down there that I might be able to move, but I don't want to alter any of the live wiring. The earth wiring is going to be much easier to adapt. So I'm going to put one battery, well, at this stage, I might change my mind, but at this stage I'm going to put one battery in the same orientation as that with the live at that end, and I'm going to try and put the second one probably crossover front to rear that way, but we'll see. Now when I say the wiring is quite simple, it is, but there's two ways you can connect two batteries together. One is series, one is parallel. You want to be doing it parallel. Now I'll talk more about that and show you how to do it later on in the video, but you do not want to connect them in series. Well, I've came in today and Santa Claus has been. He's left me two batteries underneath the bed. Well, I suppose there was no Christmas tree to put them under. He could have got the elves to fit them for me. Looks like I'll have to do it. You'll probably notice they're the same make as my old one. Well, that's because that old one is 5 years old and I haven't had a ha'porth of bother with it. So I thought it was a safe bet to get the same make. Okay, the leisure battery is disconnected and removed now. And I've just checked with the multimeter to make sure there's no power to those leads. I did isolate the solar system, and so there was no real need, but it's always best to check. Now I haven't told you the spec of my solar system. My solar system is 120 watts dual battery solar system, which means it doesn't only charge the leisure battery, it also charges the van battery. And I fitted that back in April 2021, and there was no isolators in the kit that I got, so I thought that was strange. So I put my own in. I put isolators for the van battery, this battery and the panel, and I'm pleased I did now. There is a video about my installation for my solar panel on YouTube, so if that's something that might interest you, look for that thumbnail and check it out. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Can I just clear something up that I said yesterday? Yesterday I said make sure to isolate the solar panel because that live lead would still have power to it, and make sure that it didn't hit the earth lead. I forgot, there's a common earth connected to the solar controller, so it doesn't have to touch the earth lead. It can touch any earth, any common earth, which is the body of the vehicle, any metal on the vehicle, and it will short the solar panel out. So it's even more important that you isolate it. Bad news. That space that I was expecting the second battery to go into is an inch too short on the length of it. It seems to be okay width-wise, but it's an inch too long, and it's going to hit the diesel heater. Now the diesel heater can't be moved at all because the exhaust goes through the floor. So if you wanted to move the heater, you'd have to put another hole in and far too much work. So I can't do that. So I'm going to have to come up with some creative joinery. Now, I am a qualified auto electrician, but I'm not a qualified joiner. So this could be fun. Well, we got more problems than I first thought. It will fit widthwise. It fits in no problem at all. But I've miscalculated a little bit on the length. Because it's going to be very close to the diesel heater. So I'm going to put an extra piece on here, and I've tried it in to get the actual size, and that would be the plate on the end, and I thought it would have to be about the edge of the checkered plate. And then I thought, oh, the fuel tank for the diesel heater. So I've tried closing the door, and it's not there, it's further back. So it will fit, but it's really close to the diesel heater. So the only other option I can think of is mounting it that way. And it's going to stick out about 7-8 inches that way, so I'm going to have to put another piece on here, and then it's going to encroach on the carriage area, so it might hinder me getting the bike in. So I think I'm going to have to stare at it for a while, but it can only go in that way or that way, so really I've only got two choices. Now, I know AGM batteries are sealed and therefore don't give off the explosive and highly flammable hydrogen gas that the lead acid batteries give off, and I do realise that the end of the diesel heater that the battery will be getting close to is the intake and won't get that hot, but it's just too close. I'm gonna plumb for the side-to-side orientation rather than the front to rear, just for a bit of peace of mind really. It's always important to strap your battery to something secure so that it doesn't bounce around when you go around the corner or anything like that. I was going to show you this before I fit it. What I do is I cut a recess in the securing mounting so that the strap can run in it like that, and it doesn't get snagged. And on this one I've just stapled it. It's just for security of the strap really. It's not security of the battery. It's just so you don't lose the end of the strap. I'll show you properly when it's on. And that's what it looks like when it's in place. This frame is all level, so the battery sits level and the strap does not get snagged, and so when the battery's in and they're bolted up, batteries will be nice and secure. Time to connect the two batteries together. And I know I said earlier that the wiring was simple, and it is. The only problem is, so am I, and I don't always explain myself very well. So I've done this little diagram and I'll try and talk you through the process. Let's start with the symbols first, just in case you're not familiar with electrical symbols. This means fuses or fuse box. This means a common earth, in this case the van body. Positive battery posts are in red, negative battery posts are in black. I'll try to explain the series diagram first. Two identical batteries, each 12 volt and each 120 amp hours. One linked to the other in a series connection. The current will flow from battery 1 through battery 2 and onto the fuse box, and then onto your electrical items in the van. When batteries are connected in series, it doubles the voltage, but the capacity stays the same. So in this case, the total voltage would be 24 volts and total capacity would remain at 120 amp hours. Whereas in parallel, same as in the series diagram, we have two identical batteries. But in the parallel connection, you'll notice both positives are connected together and both negatives are connected together. In this parallel connection, the voltage will remain at 12 volts, but the capacity will double. So in this case, the voltage will remain at 12 volts, but the capacity has doubled to 240 amp hours. Both the parallel diagrams are exactly the same wiring. The only thing that has changed is the battery orientation. I've done this because it might be easier on the eye to show how it is a parallel connection. There is a view by some people that the positive connection should be on one battery and the negatives on the other battery. To make sure you'd be using both batteries. I can see where they're coming from on this, but as the two negatives are connected together, if the resistance in the second battery was greater than the resistance in the earth linked lead, the current would just use the linked lead, as electricity always takes the path of least resistance. So I don't think it makes much difference, although I am connecting positive and negatives on different batteries. The voltage in the two batteries will equal out anyway due to the parallel connection. It's the same type of connection you would use if you were jump starting a flat battery. You may have noticed there's a cross next to the series diagram and a tick next to the parallel diagram. I hope this hasn't confused you. The series connection is a valid connection if you have a 24 volt system, but as most camper vans are 12 volts, it would be an incorrect connection for them. So if you have a camper van with the usual 12 volt system, you need to connect your battery in parallel. You see what I mean about my explanation skills? It's hard on camera. I hope you understood that. If any part that you didn't understand, send me a message. I'll do my best to answer it. Right, just before I connect them up, I'll tell you about the leads. I've got these leads now. In my day, when I used to have the garage, you could just buy a length of lead and put your own ends on, so you could get it really neat and all clipped in and neat. Can't do it now. The supplier says, oh, they've come with the ends on now, so they only do certain sizes. So the odds are they're going to be probably too long. I'll have to come around. Anyway, I'm making excuses before I do it. That's why. Right, let's take a look at the finished wiring. This red lead is a positive lead from battery 2 to the fuse box and then on to the various components in the van. This red lead is a positive link lead between batteries 1 and 2. And this black lead is the negative link. Then we have the earth lead from battery 1 to to the body earthing point on the doorpost, if it's going to focus. Now we just have to put the end piece on. And box the rest up, and I'll give you a shot of it then. Well, I think I've earned this. It's all finished, all boxed up and working, and that's another job done. And one I've wanted to do for about 12 months, 18 months now. I know it doesn't look that pretty, the joinery work, but it's functional, it protects the batteries, and it wouldn't have looked so bad if I went out and bought some more wood all the same colour. That's just scraps of wood that I've had lying around. Anyway, no one's going to see it. So that's another one done. There is an alternative to adding 2 batteries if you want to spend some money. There's a lithium battery. They're very good, and you would save on space and you'd save on weight, but it would cost you more than 2 AGM batteries. I looked this morning and a 280 amp hour battery was £550 near enough, and that was on special offer. I've seen them for over £800. Anyway, I don't need to worry about that, mine's done, and so is this video. So thank you for watching, and you take care, and hope to see you on the next one.